Okay, so how has the week been? How is the recovery from Corona happening?
Yeah, the week's been okay. Yeah, there was a bit of an issue with my work yesterday. I was pulled into a war room, so I'm busy collecting logs to upload to support logs to upload to a call, an investigation that's going on, trying to ascertain the root cause of the outage.
Uh-huh.
So,
All right.
but yeah, so I was expecting to have a quiet afternoon yesterday, but that wasn't the case. It went into last night and is continuing this morning. Although it's more for forensics now. Just so
Right. Yes.
the recovery happened yesterday, but now
Uh-huh.
it's getting to the root cause of the issue. So a lot of log analysis.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, one thing that we all need to do as part of part of our growth in financial education is that we need to keep very close watch of what's going on around us, especially when there's a situation like this pandemic. We see now. I've been observing the markets in Dubai, and I've seen many companies use this as an excuse to not pay their dues, not pay their suppliers. Initially there was a lot of bank moratoriums declared, and nowadays you don't see those bank moratoriums anymore. So a lot of economic activity is associated with this in different stages, and that will actually. This is again another observation that we need to make, that in the short term, how the market is responding, because this might open up some opportunities for us to invest, to support, to develop a product or develop a service which might work in our favor, because
Yes.
this is changing a lot of people's approach. Now students, they are the significance of computer education in schools, for example, is now changing completely. Children, what we used to teach them in lower classes is not necessary anymore, because they are automatically learning a lot of stuff by doing it rather than by being taught. So that is one change that is happening. So similarly, a lot of old people are moving to new technology. There is an opportunity. There are many opportunities that are coming up because people are more tech aware these days. Everybody's got more connected. And now everybody has to be on WhatsApp or some kind of messenger. They've got to learn how to use Zoom meetings. All of this has become very required these days.
Yes,
So,
I agree, and have also observed growth in e-commerce, whereas the marketplace for e-commerce seems to be growing, where you had individuals that perhaps were preferred to do shopping in
yes,
person because of this whole event, if you like. People that haven't considered shopping online now are now doing it, and so
yes,
that marketplace has more people, yeah, becoming familiar with the technology, and yeah, not necessarily through choice, but yeah, it's a change that's been forced, if you like. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, the point is consumer behavior is changing.
Yes.
That is, and that is the one that is creating more opportunities, or it is making the cost of doing business come down, which is very okay. That's my little fellow here, the youngest. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to have some serious discussions. Okay. Okay. All right. You need something from me? No. Okay. All right. Let me just message. All right. All right. Thank you. Running with us on the Zoom. I just sent a message to Ben. Let's see if he responds. If not, we will just go ahead and start.
I might have to leave early today because some might guests come.
I had
So-
celebrations, right?
Yes, but yeah, we'll try my best to stay.
No worries, no worries. Let's see. Now, one thing about this club is that nothing is by force.
Yes.
So it's your choice to stay or
What
not.
were you guys were discussing? Sorry, I interrupted.
No. We were just saying we have to observe the market because a lot of opportunities are coming up because a lot of customer behavior or consumer behavior is changing. So there is a lot of opportunity because of that, and we need to be carefully monitoring our what is going on around us. Otherwise, we might fail to capitalize on some of the opportunities. Like now, everybody is on Zoom. People who did not want to be on Zoom, people who never heard of Zoom. Zoom share price is shot through the roof. And the only reason is that it is the most popular video conferencing or video chat application. And if you imagine, if you notice, it is not only the new, what do you call it, new corporate signups. We are on an unpaid Zoom session. There are paid Zoom sessions as well. And there are many new paid signups on Zoom these days because people are finding it not only, I think I used this example once before. People are not only finding it useful to be on Zoom, they are also finding it cheaper than taking an aircraft or taking a flight from one point to another point. So the technology growth in IT or communication business has actually impacted or has actually eaten the market share of airline business. So because of change in the consumer behavior, a lot of changes are happening in our marketplace. And this is happening in the short term. Now, long-term impact is still to come. This is just the short-term cycle that we are facing. And the long-term impact is still to come. So what would be critical in this point? Now, I recently made a deal. It's a sale deal for a property, a small resort in Kerala. We found the seller and we found the buyer and we put them together. So it's a brokering service. And we've been doing this for a while. But what we've noticed is that whenever we present it properly, like whenever we depend on the customer to provide us the photographs, and somebody goes over there, takes a few pictures, takes a few clicks, makes a few clicks on the mobile phone and brings it back with a sparse description, we never get a good deal. Whereas if we get a professional photographer to take the location pictures, we get someone professional to create the description of the property. We have the facts presented well. If we look at the facts, what they're looking at, what somebody is
You can say marketing well.
marketing well. Yeah, exactly. But then most people, the reason why I picked this example is that I've seen the good and the bad of the same industry or the same activity. It's just one activity in the real estate activity. So if real estate sector. So what has happened is the good part, if we make an effort, if we get the professionals on the job and we go in and get a good presentation done, there are a lot of buyers. In fact, I have, okay, this particular example is where I had this property. It was and I had a similar property. I mean, this was a resort, and so it's a leisure getaway. It's a luxury thing. And then there is a commercial building which is generating a better result than this resort. The resort was presented beautifully. The commercial building, somebody just took pictures, but the commercial building has a water frontage. It is in the heart of the city. There is a nice, beautiful river flowing right next to it, and all of that. It's a beautiful place, but just because of the presentation and the revenue is substantial, the resort hasn't made any money in the last 8 months. There is no cash flow. Whereas the commercial building is still generating cash flow, which the resort would have done at its peak. See, leisure business is seasonal, so you can't have the same kind of cash flow in all the seasons. But what the resort was generating in its peak season, there's a commercial building, which is generating every month. In spite of that, there are no offers on the commercial building, and there are people are queuing up for the resort. And the only difference between these two is that you could expect some growth in the tourism industry, you could expect some growth in leisure market. All of this is possible, but in spite of that, the only major difference is the presentation. How it is done. One was done with professionals, the other was done with amateurs, wannabes. So this was the difference that I've noticed, and this is not my first experience with this. I've seen the same thing happen even before, when we were trying to get deals on a tea estate. So there was a tea plantation, and we were trying to get some deals on the tea plantation. The well-presented one, the one with most pictures and all of that, had a lot of interest, generated a lot of interest, because the customer feels he is already in control of the situation. He doesn't feel that it is going to be, he has to make an additional effort. He thinks, or he gets the feeling that he is already familiar with the product or with what is being offered. Whereas when it comes to something which is not well presented, you only have text, you only have information, and that too most probably not complete information. There's pictures and all of that. So what I'm saying is observing customer behavior and creating a product profile or a service, an offering based on how the customer is trained to think. In the long run, you can change customer perspective, but in the short run, you have to go with the flow.
Yeah.
This is where the trends come in. The importance of trends is so much that if you are trying to do anything against the trend, you have to be very patient, very gentle, very slow, very subtle. Uh, okay, when the pandemic hit, it was a different thing because everyone was forced. But try to force a sales decision on a customer, they will definitely not respond positively.
No, actually, the things you're talking about, there is actually study happens. So I remember there was a study, one webinar happened for like how to engage the audience. And like when we are running a Facebook or when we are using YouTube or any website, let's say real estate website, when we are browsing, so they are also keeping the track of how much time each person is spending on a particular link, and what's his engagement, like how many pictures he have seen, and like through different parameters, they are also using that trend as well to know what is better for audience or a customer, what kind of property he's looking, like that. There is lots of studies are happening here regarding this also.
The same thing is happening on e-commerce as well. Steve mentioned e-commerce earlier. The same thing is happening on e-commerce as well. The customer experience, the reason why people are now moving more to e-commerce, one of the reasons is that they can't go out. The reason why they were not on e-commerce in the beginning, in the first place, is because they were using it like a price catalog. So most of these people, and this is also a cultural thing, many cultures, the cultural expression of a society is more or less very much about touch and feel.
Yeah.
It's about, you shake hands with people. And when you shake hands with people, there's a study even on the way you shake hands. So you can tell your character, you can tell your interest, you can tell your the way you respond to things, all from a handshake. So all these is part of customer behavior. And what happens is, if you look at cultural thing, you shake hands. In India, sometimes we greet each other by a hug. In the Muslim culture, it is always about air hugs. So the culture is all about reducing the personal space and creating trust. So in case of the Japanese, if you see, they bow down to you. If they respect you, they bow down, they follow you to the car. I've done a lot of business with Japanese people, so I've always admired how they make you feel so special. I've had the general manager of a company accompanies you to the car, and those days I was driving a Ford Focus, so it was one of the most economy cars. I had just started my career into sales, and I was driving a very regular everybody's car, a common man's car. But so what I mean to say is my rank was only around that. I was just a regular sales guy. But when I speak to some of the Japanese general managers, and they like it, they sense the sincerity in it, and they show their respect by walking me to the car after the meeting, and then they stay looking at my car. I can see them in the rear view mirror. I can see them that until I finish, until I take a turn and I vanish from their eyesight, they will still be waiting for me over there. That used to be that was the that is the kind of respect, or that is the kind of expression, cultural
that kind
expression.
of make impact on you also. Like right now, also we are remembering, right?
Exactly.
Long time ago, that impact.
True. But what I meant to say is, the Arabs, they come and they hug each other. It is customary, they do this and then they do this. They hug both ways. And even in India, we do that in a lot of cultures. I'm not very familiar with the cultural aspect in many countries, but in whichever few nationalities I've seen, there's always this bonding which comes because of the cultural thing. So all of that promotes touch and feel, reduction of personal space, coming closer to each other, and all that. And then suddenly e-commerce comes and takes away all of this these factors. So naturally, people are apprehensive. They are not happy to go on e-commerce websites. Rather, they would go to the supermarket. They would use e-commerce. A lot of people would browse e-commerce websites to see what kind of products are available and what kind of price range they come at. What is the cheapest you can find them at? But very rarely they order it online at the first go. Instead, what they used to do, and this is very surprising because customer behavior is not always rational. You watch your product on the e-commerce website, you find the price, you find the features, and then you go to the nearest shop where you can find these. Sometimes you don't even go to the nearest shop. You go to something very far away, and then you pick something that you can touch and feel, and or at least you go to the shop and you make sure that what you saw on the website, what you liked on the website, and what you see in the shop, the quality of the product, the same product, is makes you happy. And then you go back online and order it because it's cheaper online.
Yeah.
Or probably you order it from the shop and you ask the shop to deliver it, or you pick it up yourself and you come off because the shop of the e-commerce is charging you a delivery fee which you don't want to pay. But the point is, the customer has already spent time and money in terms of fuel and maintenance of the vehicle, all those kind of things, and gone to the shop to see or pick up, which means you've already incurred the cost. You've already come across the cost of making this purchase, making the delivery. And then you go back and then you order online and wait for another 3-4 days or a week or even 2 weeks for the product to arrive. So the final result of the customer satisfaction comes at a heavy cost rather than where you would order the item, and if it comes and you don't like it, you just send it back. Most of the e-commerce websites, they allow you to do that these days. You could return in 14 days or something, and if you don't like it, then they refund you everything. So these kind of customer behavior changes are very, if you analyze it financially, they don't make real sense. But if you look at it in terms of customer satisfaction, customer behavior change, especially bringing that cultural element into the picture, the change in customer behavior is very difficult to achieve. So it takes a long time. There's a there's an interesting case study of how Kellogg's went into Japan.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Kellogg's,
Kilo?
Kellogg's, the
The complex.
cornflakes guy.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Have you come across this one, Steve?
No, I haven't, but I'm interested to hear.
All right. Okay. Well, Daniel is here. Let's ask Daniel to join. Running out of time. Okay, 10 more minutes to this meeting. Okay. All right. So,
Hi, Daniel.
hi, Daniel.
Are you able to hear us?
Okay, I think he can hear, but he is
He
still.
might be joining.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Hi, Daniel.
Yes.
Oh,
Hi. Sorry, I'm late.
No worries, no worries. We were just discussing how customer behavior, how to change customer behavior in the long term.
Okay.
All right. So Kellogg's, okay. So Kellogg's goes into Japan, and culturally, the Japanese, they like a warm breakfast, whereas Kellogg's is a cold breakfast. You Kellogg's with milk or whatever, it's a cold breakfast. So cereal with milk. So Kellogg's decides to wait it out, take its own time, and figure out how to crack the market. It takes them 12 years to bring their sales up to cover their operating expenses. Because they have to change the customer behavior from warm breakfast to lukewarm breakfast, and lukewarm breakfast to cold breakfast. You have to do it in stages, and you have to do it very slowly so that the customer feels comfortable and feels that the customer is actually making the choice, not the product forcing the customer to go into that decision. The 12 years of change with customer behavior. In fact, now we should be very happy that the customer has already changed their behavior because of the pandemic. Like it has happened in a span of 6 or 8 months. A lot of change has happened in the customer behavior, in the way they use technology. So that is that's one of the reasons why I keep repeating. That's why this thought is high on my mind. How are we going to make the best of this change in customer behavior? Because here the opportunity is to transform our business or transform our business ideas with what the customer has already learned. It is not possible for us to create this change in the short run, but it has already been forced on the customer to make that change. Now, if that has already happened, then what we should do is to rush and capitalize on that opportunity.
yes.
make the transformation in our ideas and get there. Now, one of the reasons why I suddenly started focusing on, this is my personal thing. So one of the reasons why I suddenly started focusing on real estate management, because because of this pandemic, the need for travel has been taken out of people's mind. And so owners are now more willing to lease their property to tenants whom they have never seen. Earlier, if you were if you owned a property and you wanted to lease to somebody that you didn't know, or somebody that you've never met, it is difficult for a person to accept that. It is difficult for a property owner to accept. I mean, especially if you have a small property. It's difficult for a property owner to accept that I've never met this guy. How do I know? What is the guarantee? What is the how do I trust him? But now that factor has changed or is changing. And I want to capitalize on that one. That's number one. Number two is people have been locked down, people have been clumped up at home for a long time now. And now suddenly when this breaks open, the leisure industry is going to boom because people want a break. They want to just get away from home. Children who used to cry before going to school, children who didn't want to go to school, now they are crying, please take me to school.
Yes.
So those kind of customer behavior changes have already happened. Now it is our opportunity to capitalize on those. Likewise, Steve, you mentioned people buying more from e-commerce websites. This is also something that needs to be addressed. I mean, you have to find ways now. My leisure properties, the ones that we are managing, we are finding new ways of now Airbnb and things like that will boom. Will find a lot of takers, especially when the markets open up better. When the borders are cleared and when people start moving around, this
Yes.
will happen. And because people they are suffocating already. The market
Yeah.
is
The same
already.
thing actually, for me also. Like, sorry to interrupt.
No, 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 please.
Sorry. So yeah, just sharing my experience. So like after working on like basically all day on a computer and then like studying on online, I was so frustrated. I'm also looking for some opportunity where I could work as well. Like I can stay some like in mountain or some resort area type of thing where I could work. But I'm like little scared to go there. So if I don't get any Wi-Fi or any type of services there, sometimes they don't provide that kind of services. So yeah, that actually looks like a big opportunity if I get chance where it's if it is an affordable one, and if I get to know that Wi-Fi and all these services are there properly, I can work, and I can like in Saturday Sunday I can chill also, and in evening I can chill. So that way it's actually boom. Yeah, it will boom, I guess.
The key here is to put ourselves into the shoes of the customer. If I were to take a break, what would be my preferred break? What would be my preferred? Now, different people, different price sensitivities. So, if I were to think of it, I would think in not only my price sensitivity within my price bracket, my affordability. So, I would look at my affordability, and then the next option that I can look at is what would be my affordability if my situation was different. If I was financially free, what are the kind of services that I would need? It gives us another perspective without actually having to be there in that situation ourselves. So sometimes it's very difficult for us to imagine. Oh, if I this is my current situation, especially if you've been in the E and the S quadrant. This happens a lot, and this is one of the characteristics of the E and the S quadrant. They are only able to think with what is around them, what they have already seen, what they've already experienced, what they consider is the affordability of their wallet. They don't think, oh, if I were already financially free, what would be my approach? What would I prefer? What would be my preference?
Just letting you know, I think less than 1 minute left. So we are rejoining, right? Again.
Yes, we are rejoining the same meeting.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So this is, and once we rejoin, now that we have Daniel also here, we'll start the game.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
okay, Daniel. Okay, so since everybody is here, I think let's go into the game part.
I have only 1 hour. So if I leave, will game continue, right?
No, I think one more. Our meeting limit is also 3 meetings. A game will continue. Yes, game will continue.
Yeah.
Game will
not.
Our meeting limit is only 3 meetings. So this one is over. This is the second meeting. So once this is over, then you will get another 20 minutes with the game in the third meeting.
Sure.
Okay. Let me start the game.
Let's join.
Which
So how are you planning to market that resort, or like what's your plan, Vijay?
like most of the let's say most of the activity is based online now, and one of the things that we are planning on, okay, we already have the website and stuff like that ready and running, but apart from that, what we are looking at is corporate events and marketing, because now there is a better opportunity for corporate events to move to these places, resort kind of places. Earlier, they used to be at hotels.
Yeah.
Now we feel there is a better opportunity for resorts. The reason being that many of these events don't have to be in public places anymore. A hotel is a place with a lot of visitors, and instead, if we have a more quiet place, which is easier to manage in terms of cleanliness, in terms of sanitization, in terms of what do you call, and you can control the environment. You can assure them that every day all the surfaces are cleaned. We've been this place has been kept ready and corona-free meetings.
Yeah.
So that is one of the changes that is one of the marketing points and one of the benefits of having a smaller place rather than a large facility. This is one of the things that we are trying to add into the portfolio of these resorts. So it becomes a corporate getaway as well as a meeting venue or things like that. Because corporates also, you are. Yes, Daniel?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. I just would like to add something on that.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
Actually, I did realize the potential of investing on the resort market because in Portugal, our main engine of the economy it's the tourism, right? So
Yes.
with this pandemic crisis, all the economy went down, everything went down. But We have a small part of Portugal that is called Algarve, where there's nice beaches, and it's really a nice place. It has a lot of resorts, and I could see in the news that that was the kind of business that was the customer was looking for because of the reasons you mentioned: sanitized, isolation, and still have a nice place to be with the family and taking holidays. Yes, I think it's a clever choice, actually. I have a lot of friends that's invested in Airbnb, and they have some small condos. But then with the pandemic, almost bankrupt. They are not bankrupt because they are working, but if not, it was really a bad situation. And I could see some people already selling they're trying to sell because they have mortgages. They acquire finance from the banking, and now they are not able to pay. Some of them have more than one condos, and they are getting in trouble right now. Hopefully, this pandemic go away. But my question is, this kind of business, we have to be very careful because they are impacted by this kind of fluctuations, this kind of events like pandemics or crises in economies really affects this market, right? So to be true, I already considered to invest it, but now I think that is not sustainable, or might be not sustainable. But the approach you mentioned, I think it's the right, because resorts will always have a place, even if we are in a good situation, a good economic situation or not. And actually, it's a market where the payments are higher, the cost of the renting, the properties, and so on, it's really high. So I didn't realize that actually. Could be a great opportunity, even here in Portugal.
Yes.
One of the as you mentioned, Daniel, I think Lijoy also mentioned before, when you didn't join. So in the starting, so he was mentioning something like that. Due to pandemic, there are people who are taking advantage of they are not paying their dues, or I remember one of my friend who is in America, and he mentioned that that who has taken a rent his property is not paying the rent. And it's like a government scheme, something like that. Government does not enable you to take a rent because of this pandemic or anything. Yes, that
Yeah.
I think this needs to be considered, I guess.
Yes, here in Portugal there is the same. You can actually delay the rents the rents or the payments to the bank, but you actually have to pay it later. So if you are not getting the money, you might have it right when this goes. So let's see what's happened.
It's called a moratorium. If you
Yes, moratorium. That's the name. I was looking for the name. It's a moratorium. Yes. But eventually they have to pay, right?
Eventually they have to pay, but they get a lot of space.
Yes, they can breathe.
Yes,
right.
They can breathe, exactly. So that when they have positive cash flow again, then they could move in with that. There is actually, I want to talk about this as well. You remember from that video that you sent, Shivam, the cartoon on how the
Great stuff, by the way. Great stuff.
Great stuff. Yeah. And what happens when you don't pay back your dues? Now, here's a situation in Dubai. Okay, so here in Dubai, a lot of people, they have defaulted on their credit cards because you have a migrant community over here. A lot of people from about 160 nationalities are represented in Dubai. So if you are from another country, if you are from another place, a nationality, and you come here, you are here on a job, you are here on a residence permit, and you have your loans, you have your credit cards. And what happens when you lose your job? Uh, Eventually, you are not able to pay, and when you don't pay, the bank has to go through a legal process for you to for them to recover what they have lost. Okay, you want to okay, all right, okay, that's good.
I think if link will work, I think.
We'll see if it works.
I'm not sure.
Daniel, could you try the link? Okay, so eventually what happens is that a credit dries up because there's no more credit. So there is no more growth in the economy. In fact, there is, the economy starts falling back. And because of the fallback, there is a lot of value that is lost. Now, okay, it doesn't work, Shivam. So can you create another game?
Sure, I can. Meanwhile, we can talk.
Yes. So once the value is lost, then there is actually, okay, it is a sad thing that the value is lost. But this is something which we cannot stop. This is a social thing. Everybody is involved in this. But the most important thing is the value will come back, or the value will have to be created again. And once that value has to be created again, that is where all the opportunity lies. That's where all the opportunity is for someone who is ready to take on that challenge of creating value for themselves. Now, the value created for the society is one thing. That is an important part. But even more important is the value that we create for ourselves. Now, in the effort to create value for the society, we should not forget ourselves, because we are the first stakeholder. We are the first stakeholder, the one who invests time, money, and effort before anybody else. We are the ones who get paid last. So when you get paid last, but you start, when you are the first to start and you are the last to get paid, you have to make sure that in between you are creating substantial value for yourself, so that when you are getting paid, it will be worth the investment in money, the investment in time, the investment in effort. So if you have created substantial value, and this is where the opportunity lies, when value is lost because of the pandemic, because of recession, because of several reasons, value is lost. But when value is lost, this is the opportunity to create value, or value is actually shifted from one to another. One interesting question I have before we start the game. Do you think it is possible to eradicate poverty?
Can you come again?
Is it possible to eradicate poverty? Or let's say, can you make poverty disappear?
I hope so. That would be great.
I believe
Not sure. It's the right answer.
Steve, what are you saying?
I believe so, but not as things stand. Not where we have the banking industry as it is. So you've got this small percentage of the global population that are creaming things. But even on a national, on a country level, I do believe it's possible. But there's people that wouldn't want that to happen. That's my view of it.
Okay. So you
think I
think
shared
it is possible, but there are people who don't want it to happen, and that's the reason why it cannot be done.
Well, it doesn't mean it can't be. It means as it is just now, there's people that would, do everything in their power to have it not happen, because because they're benefiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shiva?
I think I sent one video actually, like interesting that in which they were mentioning something like money shows what your efforts are. It shows the kind of a trophy what you have done. So if you have that poverty or whatever we are talking about, that is symbolize that the not properly using our resources or not using our proper like mind. So it's obviously the money, like in the end what will happen, even if we distribute the money equal to everyone, in the end what will happen, those who are intelligent, who have more have put more effort and who will work for that, they will get in that money, and the others who are lazy, who does not get it, and they just will lose that. So
Sure.
it's gonna be eventually happen. So yeah, so poverty is about showing how laziness or these things are there. But when government try to like minimize, let's say Russia and our Russia or all this country, which when they want to like control the money, and when they want to make someone poor or like someone poor or rich, in that case it end up backfiring them only, because money actually lost its value that time. It just become a piece of paper like that way.
Okay. Now, I want to compare this with what happens in nature, okay, physics. Very simply, let's compare this because that's how the world, the earth works. Why do you think we have winds? We have winds because some parts are colder, some parts are warmer, and then the temperature keeps shifting because there is a sun, there is night, then there is day. During the day we warm up, during the night we cool down, and some parts, some places, the land cools down faster than the sea, or the sea cools down, sea warms up slower than the land. So all these things are there, creating undulations, creating inequalities. Now, if nature itself works like that, it creates inequalities and creates a flow because of the inequalities. I don't believe that everybody can be at the same economic level. Number one. Number two is when it comes to now, what Shiva mentioned is absolutely my viewpoint, where if you take money out of the picture, then you are actually taking motivation out of the picture. If everybody has the same money, or everybody continues to have the same money, if everybody is at the same level, equals, if all men are equal, then there is no reason to improve yourself. There is no reason to put more effort. There is no reason to grow. Because even if you grow, even if you put your effort, you are still going to be at the same level. So why make the effort? The basic nature of everything in this universe. Now, this is science. This is how science defines it. The basic nature of everything in this universe is towards chaos, is towards loss of value. If you leave a house for 100 years, it will cease to exist. But if you have to make it exist, if it has to continue to exist and exist in a good way, you have to maintain it, which means you have to invest in it, which means you have to spend energy on it so that it can maintain or grow or become better. The same is the case with the society as well, which is why I wanted to bring this point of creating value. Creating value takes effort. Creating value takes time. Creating value takes money. And this can be done at any point in the economic cycle. Wherever you are in the economic cycle, whether it is an up cycle or a down cycle, you could still create value. But the whole point is, it is a lot more easier, a lot many more opportunities to create it in the down cycle than in the up cycle. So we are actually at a very, very attractive point of the cycle where we are in the down cycle. Right now, everything is going down. As we know, as we see, everything is crumbling in front of our eyes. The most important thing or the best thing to do for us right now is to create value for ourselves. And this part is the most attractive point of all this chaos that is happening around us, where we can actually build value for us and for the people that are. I just can't figure out where Kiyosaki mentions this point, and it's a very beautiful point. The stakeholders of a business enterprise or creating value. You create value for yourself or your investors. You create value for the society and your customers, your society. So I will I think I will work on it. I will find out that text where it talks about that. I think that should be really important for us to realize. Everybody doesn't create value, and the only ones who create value will be rich or wealthy. Wealthy is the right word. It's not just that we don't want others to be wealthy. It's not just someone stopping or someone not wishing others to be wealthy. It is not because the government is not doing enough for us to be wealthy. It is not because it's not an external factor. It is not an external factor. It is an internal factor where you have decided to create value for yourselves. And you are making the effort, you are doing everything that is within your resources to create that value. And this part is the lazy part that you mentioned, Shivam. If you are not creating if you're not making the effort not to make money, effort to add value of any sort, if that effort is not there, that is where the laziness comes in. You cannot measure wealth in terms of money, but you can measure wealth in terms of the effort to add value.
Yeah, that's what like effort is. It should add value. Like a very good example in that video he gave. Like there was a slaves like before, like very in history, right?
Yes.
So they were not adding any value. They were just working on someone's thinking like, yes, you have to do this. They were doing that, but they were not adding value. So that efforts were not the efforts which was creating any wealth for anyone.
Correct.
So that's why like we were not like the society was not improving much. That's the kind of thing like we need to remove. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, Daniel needs 2 minutes. Okay, that's fine.
I start the game anyway.
We'll need him also to respond. I think we can start the game, and when it comes to his part, we will just wait for him to play.
Sure.
And in the meanwhile, we can keep talking also. That's not an issue. Okay. Are you sharing screen, then, Shiva?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So big game, limited partner. Okay, we will not talk too much about it. I think we already covered it in the last session.
Actually, yeah. So it's an engineering salary. Okay. Cool.
No, you can take it. You should take it. We
In early
discussed.
game.
Sorry.
In early game, you want me to take
Yes,
it?
only in early game you should take a limited partnership.
Sorry, you were saying like in after a game, we have an opportunity to double it, right?
Right. Yes. Later you will get an opportunity. With time, you will get the opportunity to double or triple the investment. So this is one of the reasons why we should yeah, good. Still positive payday, so
Yes.
no need to borrow. Okay, Steve, share.
Okay.
Shivam, you will have to end your screen share. Otherwise,
Okay.
Steve will not be able to.
Okay, you can see?
Yes. Just zoom in a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's better?
Awesome.
Yes, one more would be good.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, so I'm a truck driver.
Truck driver, good. Play. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I think we have already covered this analysis before, right?
Yeah.
Last time you were there, right? Steve has always been there. So, what do you think?
Yes, no, it's, I think it's good. So this is for a duplex. So in terms of like if you were to flip the property, you would need to get at least like 30 or above 30 per unit. Yeah.
No,
To
if you
make profit on that, but as
I think
this
you are on the wrong side of the analysis, Steve.
Less than, like we are buying, right? So
Less than 30 because we are buying it.
yes. No, I'm saying if you were to resell it.
Yes, if you were to resell it,
Yeah,
you
so
would
get above 30. Yeah.
The best that you would get is what? What does your market research say?
40.
40. Okay, so $10,000 if you sold it. Correct?
No, it'd be 20.
Okay. $20,000 if you sold it.
Yes.
Now you're going to borrow 6,000.
Yes.
You have no money of your own.
Correct.
So you're going to
Uh-huh.
borrow everything of the 6,000.
Yes. So that's going to cost $600.
$600. Yes.
I'm going to put in 300. So it's going to be 300 down on this.
Yes. How
The payday
many?
will reduce to 580.
Yeah. How many cash flow days can you survive losing 300? Up to your total, you can expect a capital gain of 20,000,
Yes.
and you are spending 300 on every payday.
Yes.
So 20,000 and 300, if you compare it, how many paydays will take you to 20,000? $180 paydays, right?
Okay.
Did you get it? Did it work for you?
I believe it's 66 days.
66 times 300. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, you're right. Okay. So
Exactly.
60 days. What I meant to say is not 180. What I meant to say is 60, because 6 times 3 is 180. So that was what I was doing. Okay. So 66 paydays. 66
Yeah.
paydays to lose all your capital gains that you stand to make if you get a deal for 40,000.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this can happen how many times? Like, what are the other possibilities? You can sell for 40,000. Then you
Yes,
can
or
sell for
35.
35. And then you can sell for 30 and 25 also.
Yes.
Okay. We went through this I think last meeting we went through this. So there are 4 possibilities of sale, which means, and if you consider that all these possibilities are coming at equal probability, just for the convenience sake, you only have a 25% chance that you will make money on it. And that is, if this is the 40,000, and this is the 35,000, and this is the 30,000 and the 25,000. Now, on the 25,000, you will lose money. So 25% chance you will lose money.
Yes.
Another 25% chance you will not make any money.
Yes.
And we are talking only about the sale. We are not talking about the paydays.
Yes.
Okay, what you're losing on paydays. Now you have a 25%. Now you have a 50% chance to make money. Out of that, a 50% chance to hit it in 66 paydays. Another 25% chance to lose money after 33 paydays. Because
Yes.
33 paydays, 66 paydays. Now, these are the only 2 chances that you have. And after all the money that you lose, the if you go through the 33 paydays, or if you go 10 rounds in this one, that's already 33 paydays, or 11 rounds if you go through that, because 3 paydays. So that finally, what is left? You have spent money on these 2 opportunities, and you are getting something which has got a 25% chance of actually making money, 25% chance of not losing money. So you are only playing a 25% chance on this. Correct?
Yes.
You're only paying 25%.
I think it's 50% to profit from it if it happens quickly, because if it's can be resold for 35 or 40, that would be 50% chance to make capital gains on it.
Yes. Okay. Let's take the 50% chance to make capital gains on it.
Yeah.
All right. So if you so that's let's keep it at 50%. At 50%, you only make 10,000 for the 6,000 that you are putting down as down payment.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Right. So if you consider your investment of 6,000 and you take your capital gains of 10,000, your actual difference is 4,000. So 25% chance that you make 4,000, another 25% chance that you make
20,000.
14. It will be
4,000 and 20 minus 4, 16,000.
Yes. Okay.
okay.
16,000.
14.
14. It will be 14.
Yes,
yes.
sorry, 14. Yes, what was I thinking? Yeah, 14. So your 4,000 capital gains can disappear in how many rounds? How many paydays? 11 paydays? No.
13.
13 paydays. Yes.
Yeah.
13 paydays. Your 16,000. Okay, so this analysis is good. This is a new way of looking at it. I've never looked at it this way. So your 16,000 or your 14,000 payday has gone in. Sorry, 14,000 capital gains has gone in. How many paydays? So that will be 12. If you have to give 12, that's 30 paydays. For 30. No, let's see. That is my calculator. Now, I keep telling you, everybody, to bring a calculator. I don't bring mine myself.
I'm not getting you, Leo. What are you calculating here?
I'll tell you. Just let me get those figures. My figures are.
So it would be 46 for the 14.
40,000.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take it this way: 14,000 divided by 300 is 46, and 4,000 divided by 300 is 13. So Shivam, what we are looking at is if Steve is able to sell within the next 13 paydays, for 35,000, he will not lose money.
He will not lose money, right? 600. So you are calculating with 600, right? 600 into 13.
No, 300. He is paying 300. He is paying 600 and getting 300. So in effect, he is paying 300.
Yeah.
right? So every payday he pays 300 for this property, right? So every payday he pays 300 for this property until the property. Now after 13 paydays, what has he paid for the property? He has paid at the rate of 35,000. Now he is paying at the rate of 30,000. After 13 paydays, he has paid at the rate of 35,000.
Yes.
So if he sells after 13 paydays at 35,000, he is not losing money, but he has not made any capital gains. All right. Steve, can you share that screen again?
Sure.
All right. So if Steve manages to sell this property in the next 13 moves or 13 paydays, he has not made any money. There is no capital gains, but he has not lost any money. Which means, let's say the inflation and the interest rate are the same. This is from real life. The inflation of the property, the appreciation of the value of the property, and the interest rate for the finance are the same. Now, if he sells within the next 46 paydays for 40,000, that is where he will not lose money at the property valuation at 40,000, the unit valuation of 40,000. This is what we have discovered today.
Yes.
Right. So, okay. Now let's. Okay, I have a slightly interesting thought process for this, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's too much. But actually, the chance of selling this without losing money is probably 13 plus 46. 1 out of 13 plus 46. So 1 out of the chance of making money on this.
Okay, I think it would be 13 plus 46 divided by 2.
Yes.
So the chances of
That is
coming out
convincing as well.
Yeah, if we consider it 50-50%, like just
50% chance.
But we have also 30 and 25 also, right, to consider. So it should be divided by 4. So something like that. But let's say, just for simplification, let's take the mid of 13 and 46, which will be
29
69.
and a half.
Sorry?
So, yeah, 29 and a half. So
yeah. 30, around 30 days, That's 30 payoff.
So that would be, all right. So that's how it works. That's a good way to understand the possibility of buying at a lower rate, which means buying in profit, making a profit when you buy, and making a profit when you sell. So making a profit when you buy is when you can buy at the lowest, and so that means your investment is working for you. Your lower cost of your lower down payment is working for you, creating leverage and creating value, like we discussed before. with little money, you are creating more value. Whereas here, your value is a little less and your chances are good. But I think the exercise was quite good for us to understand
Yes.
Yes.
how the analysis, how we can analyze a deal, how
Yeah.
we can look at the possibilities of a deal. Steve, up to you.
Yes, I'm going to go with it. Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. Okay, can we see your financial statement before you move?
Sure.
All right. Let's look at how it has impacted.
Oops.
Actually, we didn't consider when we were averaging out, we didn't consider the loss part, like the 25,000 and 20,000. It
Yes,
should be come around like 0 or 1 day after like 2 or 4 days only, or 4 deals only, you will like starts to get in loss. If we consider 20 and 25,000, because
consider
they
the
will
other
be
ones as well. The possibility of getting deals at lower than your purchase value.
yes.
Actually, if you get a deal for deal in the very next payday, I mean, after the very next payday for 30,000, you have already lost 300 on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, I also think that like what Shivam just said, we have to consider that part more importantly than preventing the loss rather than making the profit, because that preventing the loss part is faster. It happens sooner because it happens in just one payday. If you decide to lose value, then it happens in less than one payday. Anyway, right? So cash. Okay, there goes. Goes
Let me
into,
stop sharing.
sorry.
Daniel,
Okay. Yes,
share.
please.
Yep.
Yes.
Daniel, your turn.
Okay. Sorry, I've got a call.
All right.
I'm just going to mute myself. I'll be back on.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Can you guys see me? See my screen?
Yes. Can you zoom it up a little bit?
Oh, yes.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Teacher.
So,
Good.
teacher.
Everybody has got low salary profiles.
Okay.
Okay. Go on. Okay. Big deal. And let's see. Okay, limited partnership. We already discussed this. This is one of the better limited partnerships because the cash flow is good on this one.
Yes.
Right.
So we are in the beginning of the
5%
game. So
cash flow. Yeah,
I will
5%.
take it.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
5%.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My finance statement.
Yes.
I'm actually on
Minus
minus 230. So I think I have 2 paydays.
Two
Right?
paydays. Yes. Excellent. Yes, you do.
Okay. Let's go.
Right. So mine now. Yes. All right. So mechanic. Okay, excellent. I like the mechanic. Oh. Okay. Payday. Okay. Positive payday. This is just my policy, guys. I'm just repeating it. Last time, I think one of the other videos also we mentioned this. But this is just my policy. If I am in positive payday, I donate. Otherwise, I don't. All right, so nothing changed in my financial statement except for the cash. So I lost 200 or I invested 200 into multiple opportunities. Charity. All right. Go pass. All right. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
All right. Next is actually Steve. We'll wait for it.
I have to leave within 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
This meeting has been into, I don't know, where can you see the time on the meeting? It only says 40 minutes and it gives the last 10 minutes only. Somewhere I want to see how the countdown works.
So guys, I have a question regarding the game. Do you already play the mobile game or from the App Store?
The App Store. The App Store doesn't have, I don't know how that works. I think it is only.
I think we could suggest some improvements here in the game online. Sometimes it's hard to. I'm not sure if you guys know if it's been done something on the game to improve it, like the usability.
The game itself is not actually what I have seen. I have played the online version and I have played the CD version of Cashflow 101. I have played Cashflow 202. So in all of the difference is, sorry guys, I think I unplugged my monitor by mistake. All right. So the what I've seen in the other versions, even the board game, I've never played the board game, but what I've seen in these different versions is, if you are actually playing one of these, you can create your own options where, let's say, you get kids. All right. So another player has kids in the game, and this I read this online in a blog. So if you have a kid and you don't want that expense, you can transfer that expense. Now, a person like me, I want kids, so I can only have 3 in the game. Now, imagine I want.
Okay.
Imagine I want 5 kids, or if I don't mind having 5 kids, because it increases my expenses. Month on month expenses, it increases. So that means I can go higher on my passive income. I can grow my passive income beyond those expenses, which means I can get a better cash flow day income on my in my fast track. Yes, fast track. So if you are playing the board game, you can actually sponsor. You can sponsor the other players' children, which means you are increasing your monthly expenses without actually having children, or not landing on children, or without taking more loans. So you have a better possibility of increasing your expenses. Now, in real life, if you look at it, we all do this all the time. We do this in terms of charity. We make commitments. We make commitments. We say, okay, I'm going. There was a time when I sponsored a child, a poor child, for education. So every year I used to send money, and they used to send us. There was an organization which was doing this charitable work, and they used to send me updates on how the child is doing in school, what they have done for the child, and all those kind of things. So that was my that was my way of sponsoring somebody else's child in real life, like how you could do in the board game version of the game. In the online version, you can't do that. Now, in the Cashflow 101, the CD version, I've seen if you have if there is an opportunity and you don't think you want to take it, you land a market card. Like say just now, Steve got this Duplay for 60,000. It's 30,000 per unit. I think it is very expensive. So I decide, I get this card and I think it is very expensive. And I say, okay, is anybody else interested? I'm auctioning this one. I'm auctioning the card for bid. I'm putting it up for bidding. And then suddenly Steve thinks, okay, he can make money out of it. He thinks it is a good deal. So he says, okay, I'm willing to pay you to get the deal. So Steve pays once a one-time fee, like a brokerage fee or a commission. He buys the card from me.
It's like you are the bank.
Reading
cash flow now. No.
All right, Shivam, see you.
Nice.
Okay, make sure to exit the game. Otherwise, we will not be able to continue the game. I don't think we will be continuing the game for too long also.
We are waiting for Steve.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yes.
We make the best of our time anyway.
I closed the browser, so yeah, it should not be a problem.
That's
okay,
fine.
guys. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you very much.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great celebration.
Nice day.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve's back.
Steve's back.
Hi.
Yes, Steve. All right, let's see what deal you have this time. All right, 140,000. Right now, this one specifically, I would think of it as a cash flow deal. Now, if I had money, I would definitely buy this one.
Exactly. Yeah, but in this case, it's not really viable. Yeah, because there's a chance to make 20,000 only if you're able to resell it at 40.
Right.
And for it's going to be 3,000 down, and to get the finance for it, and 2,000 up, so it's going to be down 1,200. And so, like you said, if you had the cash available, it's viable, but as it stands, it is not. Correct. So in this instance, I'm going to pass.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Can you stop sharing?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Too bad.
Too bad.
So my finance statement.
All right.
So I need, maybe it would be better to borrow some money.
Yes.
Right.
In advance. This is again a choice, a personal choice for the game. I prefer to buy. I prefer to borrow before I end my turn, so the next turn I'm safe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You could do it after.
I try to.
Yes.
I follow two strategies before, and I'm not sure which one is the best, but I think it's to borrow the least you need, or you might be paying interest for many paydays, and you should not be paying, or borrowing $10,000, and then you can manage the other paydays until the money is gone. So, but you lose control. You lose control about that.
Exactly.
No, I would only borrow what was required. So in this instance, the lowest amount would be 1,000, and that would
Yeah.
be to safeguard against going bankrupt on the next turn. And I
Yes.
would only borrow additional to that if there was an opportunity to make use of.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So
Steve is exactly on the point here. I think we discussed this before once in one of our meetings as well.
yes.
Uh,
I think this is because of my laziness, because sometimes I forget to borrow. I end up on bankrupt. So
all right.
now I'm borrowing only before the next cards, at the
Yeah.
end of the card that I have at the moment. So
Correct. Correct. Now there are two things in this one, Daniel, and this is about the real life experience as well, and this is what we have discussed before also. But if you look at it, you have to have financial planning. Now, you looking
yes.
at your financial statement, and you looking at how many days do you have, or how many rolls do you have before getting to the next payday. Now, this is an important part of financial planning. In real life, you have to make these financial planning, because there is a possibility that you would land a doodad. There is a possibility that you will incur an expense, a huge expense before the next payday. But that is out of control, right?
Yes.
Every time we roll the dice, it is not in our control. And the name of the game is control. This is a game which teaches us to be in control, but not in control of the way we roll our dice. It is about the way we respond to what happens when we roll the dice. So we are in control of our emotions. We are in control of our responses. We are in control of our behavior. We are in control of our actions. Now, if we have to do all these things, then we have to have some kind of planning, because if all these things are out of our control, then we have no reference point. You don't know whether you are on track or not. If you don't have a plan, you don't know if you have actually moved away from the plan, because there is no plan. Right? So
Right.
one of the most important things in real life is to have a direction fixed and to have a financial plan. In my businesses these days, and I have missed this in my previous some of my previous ventures. But these days, when I plan for a venture, I plan on it in different stages. I look at it in terms of what is going to happen in the first month, what is going to happen financially, what is going to happen in the first month, what is going to happen in the second month, what is going to happen in the sixth month, and so on. Whereas earlier, when I started out in my ventures, the only thing that I would look at is, do I have enough money to handle the setup of the business? Am I going to be able to pay for the licensing? Am I going to be able to pay for the rent, the deposit on the rent, the legal charges, probably a few other things? So I look at only these things, and then suddenly, once the business is up and running and starts rolling, I feel I am not in control, because I'm just waiting for the orders to come in. Now I'm waiting to be able to control the way my customers behave. This is not possible. A customer is somebody who is in control, who should be in control of their own actions. for me, I have to be in control of my own actions. And if I only looked at what happens to get set up, I would be losing out on what happens when things start rolling. This is something that I've learned from my real life experience, from my immaturity in getting into business ventures. And that is the reason why today, every time I look at a business venture, I look at what is the expense that I would meet month on month, and how am I going to finance it month on month. So I'm actually looking at payday to payday.
Okay.
Just like how we would look at it in the game, just like how we look at financial statement after every roll, after every expense, after every investment, after every turn, we look at the financial statement. The same way I look at it in my real life as well. So I know whether I'm on plan or I'm deviating from my plan.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right, so let's move on. Okay, so that's the reason why in the game I would not borrow unnecessarily. I would make sure that I'm only borrowing based on what I need, just like how Steve mentioned.
Yes, already tried both, but I prefer the first one. It's buying only what you need, because you are losing money. Once you don't need the money, it will be stopped, and you are not getting nothing from that.
Yes,
So
yes, you have not.
you are
made
paying.
any-
Actually, you are paying for that.
Correct. All right. Let's see. Okay, 2 dice. Let's look at the deal. Oh, wow. I like this one. I like this one because this is 5%, more than 5% returns on my down payment. It's 5.4 plus more. Let's see how much returns it gives me. So 2,700 divided by 40,000 times 100. That's 6.75% returns on the cash flow is 6.75% return on my down payment. Normally my cutoff is 5%. I don't do anything less than 5%. Going in with this one is going to cost me 3,900 every month to make. And there you go. All right. So my financial statement says minus 480. I have to borrow now. Borrow and.
But your cash flow is ahead, so.
Yes. Look at that. That's a good thing about being doing only the big deals, because every opportunity you are using to make a deal which can possibly provide you with a very high return. You are not taking a big risk, because most people, they would not want to play with this big deals, because it puts them in negative cash flow and negative payday, and it puts them at a risk of losing your game, a risk of being bankrupt. But the whole point is, if you are disciplined, now this is very important when it comes to our financial journey. If we are disciplined on what we are doing, that means you have a plan, you try your best to stick to the plan, and if things don't go according to plan, you always refer back to the plan and see how you can get back in control of the situation. And you plan ahead for some of these things that you could foresee, or some of these expenses that could happen as well. That is where the financial discipline comes in. And because of that discipline, what the discipline is doing is that you are eliminating a huge portion of the risk. Right, okay, so our last 10 minutes, and who is sharing screen? I think Steve now.
Okay. Yep.
Right. Oh, okay. What happened? Okay, just payday, yeah?
And I landed on a payday,
Okay,
yes.
all right, okay.
Okay.
You're still in positive payday, so there is nothing to worry if you pass through a payday. All right. Okay, payday again. Let me share screen. Nice. All right, 30,000. Here goes your one chance, Steve.
Yeah.
So, how many paydays so far? I think just a couple of them, right?
One, I believe.
Only one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. See, I made a mistake here. The mistake that I made was that I was already in negative payday. And once you are in negative payday, then you don't roll your 2 dice.
Yes. Yes.
You only roll your single dice. So you try to make the best of the cards that you will possibly get in between. So I made a mistake over there, and I just noticed, so I thought I'll just mention that. All right, done, and let me end, and yes. There goes Steve. Can we try to take that opportunity? Let's see if you try to sell, what happens. You get 6,000.
6,000, yeah.
What's your cash flow? It's a small cash flow, right?
No,
Yeah,
no,
so that would basically just pay off the loan that has been taken. So it would be breaking even.
no, you will not be breaking even. Since you mentioned one payday, you
Oh,
will be
yes.
in minus 300 on that
Yes,
deal.
you will lose 300.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's just skip this and
Okay.
all right. Let's look at this one. This one, I think, is the first time since we started our video meets. Let's quickly look at this one. Could you zoom in a little more, Steve?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's come to that deal itself. All right. So, what do you think? How do you run it down?
Okay, it's going to be 5 down for the finance, 5,000 down, and 2-4 up. So it's going to be negative 2,600. I have 1,000 cash,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be negative 2,500 down. So it is going to be just, I'm going to be 1980 negative the payday if I
Right.
was to take this deal. Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah, no, that's it doesn't look positive. There's not enough cash on hand. This is a fantastic opportunity if you do have the cash, but as it stands, yeah, it's going to be fighting an uphill battle.
Yes.
Trying to make this positive.
Right. what can you make out from the description of the deal?
Okay, yeah, yeah. So there's a demand for it. Yeah, it's 12 units.
Right.
12 units at 350. Let me just see. 350 divided by 12 is
29 per unit, right?
Okay, it's 30,000 per unit,
Yes,
approximately.
30. So
yeah, the price per unit is bad, and yeah, if you have positive cash.
No. Run through the description of the deal, how they describe it. 12-unit apartment house offered by out-of-state heirs of Andy
Okay.
Mann.
Okay, so as a business is viable, so this has been handed down to heirs from the former owner, Handyman. Yeah,
Right.
the business or the opportunity in itself is good. It's solid. It's just that the recipients of the business are out of state and don't want to be hands-on, so they're just looking to offload it.
Exactly.
So as an opportunity, it's good.
That's good.
It's there's no shortage of demand. It's high demand in the area for it, so there's no risk of not being able to occupy it.
Yes. So
yeah,
these are also things that we consider when we have to go in for a deal, whether it is actually a good deal or not just the financials of the deal. But
Yes.
if you look at it, the deal itself is not so bad. They are only asking for 14% of the valuation as down payment.
Yes.
50,000 out of 35,000. So that's out of 350,000. So they are actually asking for only 14% of the deal, 14% of the valuation, and you have 2,400 by 50,000. That is, you get 4.8% return on your which is close to, according to my thing. I demand 5%, so which is very close to the 5% if you wanted to make the deal. All right, okay. So this not yet, not when you don't have the money, but
Yes.
okay. So we are almost in the last 2 minutes of our meeting today, of our entire meeting today. So if after this one, if you want to continue the game, we can continue the game. Daniel, quickly, if you want to do the last screen share, then we could probably look at one more deal before we close. All right. Right. So what do you think? What does the deal description say? Daniel?
this is a quick sell. I think that the amount of the duplex is quite attractive, but there's a tenant in place. The cash flow is not huge, but
yes, it's a deal that you would do for capital gains, for the sake of capital gains.
But I'm in debt now, so I'm not sure if I should increase the debt. This is a nice opportunity.
It is a nice opportunity. It is an opportunity to buy in profit, because your 45,000 divided
really
by
low.
2 is only 22,500. The lower you could go probably is up to 20,000 for a duplex, and for any flex units for that matter. But you have so that means you have a 75% opportunity to sell
Yes.
in profit, right? And your
Yes.
down payment is 8,000 divided by 45,000. So that's